The Zephyrian High Council had made what they considered their greatest tactical error in 3 millennia of galactic dominance. They had underestimated a 7-year-old human child named Maya Chen. Dr. Veltar, the Council's chief xenopsychologist, adjusted his crystalline neural implants as he observed the small human through the observation deck of their research vessel. The child sat cross-legged on the floor of her containment chamber, apparently fascinated by a simple holographic puzzle they had provided for her entertainment. What the Zephyrians didn't realize was that Maya had already solved it 17 different ways and was now reverse engineering their holographic technology. "The specimen appears docile," reported Commander Jexel, her forearms gesturing dismissively at the monitors. "Human offspring are clearly as inferior as our projections indicated. Perhaps we overestimated their species' potential threat to our expansion." The Zephyrians had encountered humanity 3 months ago during their systematic survey of the Orion Arm. Initial scans suggested humans possessed unusual neural plasticity, but their technology was primitive, barely achieving faster-than-light travel. The Council decided to study them, starting with what they assumed would be the most malleable subjects: human children. Maya had been selected from a colony ship's passenger manifest. Her parents, believing she was participating in a cultural exchange program, had proudly sent her aboard the Zephyrian vessel. The aliens had presented themselves as peaceful explorers, offering educational opportunities. They weren't technically lying. They were learning a great deal, just not what they expected. "Begin the intelligence assessment protocol," Dr. Veltar commanded. The first test involved pattern recognition using Zephyrian mathematical sequences. Maya completed it in minutes, her small fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The aliens exchanged glances through their translator devices. "Anomalous result," muttered Dr. Veltar. "Increase complexity by factor 7. Maya solved the next puzzle even faster. She had recognized that the Zephyrian mathematical system was based on crystalline harmonic frequencies, something she found beautifully logical. As she worked, she began to understand how their entire computational network functioned. The second test measured spatial reasoning using multi-dimensional geometric problems. Maya not only solved them, but started creating her own variations, building impossible structures that somehow maintained mathematical coherence. The Zephyrians watched in growing unease as their own engineers struggled to understand her solutions. "Perhaps," Dr. Veltar said slowly, "we should implement the cognitive mapping procedure." This was their mistake. The cognitive mapping device was designed to scan and analyze thought patterns. The Zephyrians used it to understand how different species processed information, allowing them to predict and manipulate behavior. What they didn't account for was that the scanning process worked both ways. It created a neural link. As the device activated, Maya felt a strange tingling sensation. Suddenly, information flooded her mind. Star charts, technological schematics, military protocols, and most importantly, the location of every Zephyrian outpost in a 50-light-year radius. The aliens had just downloaded their entire tactical database into the mind of a human child. Maya's eyes widened, but she maintained her innocent expression. Through the neural link, she could sense the aliens' thoughts, their arrogance, their plans for humanity, their weaknesses. The Zephyrians prided themselves on logical thinking, but Maya realized they had a critical flaw. They couldn't understand intuitive leaps. While they followed linear thought processes, Maya's mind worked like her father's quantum computers, exploring multiple possibilities simultaneously. She began to piece together not just what the aliens knew, but what they couldn't know they didn't know. "Fascinating," Dr. Veltar observed, studying the readouts. "The human child's neural patterns are chaotic, yet somehow stable. How is this possible?" Maya smiled and started drawing on the holographic interface. To the aliens, her drawings looked like random scribbles, a child's artwork. But embedded in those seemingly innocent pictures were detailed blueprints of Zephyrian shield generators, complete with their frequency vulnerabilities. She drew a flower that was actually a schematic for their faster-than-light communication system. A butterfly contained the molecular structure of their hull materials. A simple house outlined the power distribution network of their capital ships. Commander Jexel laughed, a sound like crystal chimes. Look how primitive it creates art. Clearly, human emotional expression interferes with logical development. Over the following hours, Maya continued her play. She asked innocent questions that revealed security protocols. She requested fun facts about space that provided critical intelligence about Zephyrian weaknesses. She even convinced them to show her holographic recordings of their homeworld, claiming she wanted to see where the pretty crystal people lived. The aliens, confident in their intellectual superiority, answered everything. They found her curiosity endearing and her questions charmingly simple. They never suspected that each answer was being carefully cataloged and analyzed. Meanwhile, through the neural link, Maya had begun broadcasting. Not intentionally at first. Human minds weren't designed for direct technological interface, but her brain adapted as human brains do, finding creative solutions to impossible problems. She started transmitting in patterns the aliens couldn't detect. Mathematical sequences hidden in her heartbeat, data packets encoded in her brainwave fluctuations. Every human ship within range began receiving her transmissions. Colony vessels updated their navigation systems with Zephyrian star charts. Military outposts suddenly knew the exact specifications of alien shield technology. Research stations received detailed analyses of faster-than-light communication networks. By the time Dr. Veltar realized something was wrong, it was too late. "Commander," he called out in alarm, "the cognitive mapping device is showing impossible readings. The human child appears to be accessing our systems." Maya looked up from her drawings with wide, innocent eyes. "Are you okay, Dr. Veltar? You seem upset." The Zephyrian frantically checked his instruments. Their most secure databases had been accessed, copied, and transmitted. Somehow this 7-year-old human had outmaneuvered their most advanced security systems without them even noticing. "How?" Commander Jexel demanded. "How did you—" "You wanted to know how humans think," Maya said, standing up and brushing off her clothes. "But you tried to use your own thoughts to understand ours. That's like trying to measure water with a ruler." The child walked to the chamber's viewing port and looked out at the stars. "My mom always says that the best way to learn is to listen more than you talk. You forgot to listen." In the distance, human ships were already changing course, armed with perfect intelligence about Zephyrian capabilities and intentions. The galaxy's newest players had just received the greatest gift possible, their enemy's complete playbook, delivered by their enemies themselves. Maya pressed her small hand against the transparent aluminum of the viewing port. "I think I'd like to go home now. My parents are probably worried." The Zephyrian High Council's attempt to understand humanity had succeeded beyond their wildest fears. They now understood that humans didn't just think differently, they thought impossibly, and in their arrogance they had given Earth's children the keys to the galaxy. As Maya's rescue ship approached, she waved goodbye to her captors with the same innocent smile she'd worn throughout her stay. The Zephyrians would spend the next several years learning to fear that smile, as human colonies spread across space with an efficiency that should have been impossible. After all, they had taught her well.